Hello, everybody. This is a very important KSF for me, and I think for everybody. And I'm excited to talk about it because I really went through what I call a transformation of my mental state, and uh, I I really like what happened after my transformation. So I'll talk about it. To start, I can tell you that it was a big surprise to me when we started with Gabriel, and he said that in order to be a good trader, you need to have a good balance of left and right brains. That was my first surprise. And because I'm a scientist and I've been left brain all my life, and my first thought was, I've been succeeding with my left brain with no problem. So why do you want me to change that? That was my first thought when he said that. But little by little, I started understanding what Gabriel was talking about. And um, I, two things that I had that were really bad for my trading. And I talked to Gabriel about these two things when we had our first one-on-one. I told him that I was an emotional person and that I was impatient. And I knew that both of those things affect my trading. I knew it, but I didn't know what to do about it. Trying to control it, as I know now, doesn't help. And I could tell at that time too, trying to control it doesn't help. So um, my other aha moment was when we started our traders group, and um, the topic of intuition came up, and I said, I don't have intuition. My wife has intuition, but I don't have intuition. And everybody started saying, what are you talking about? Everybody has intuition. You just have to be open to it. You have to uh, like cultivate it. You have to try it. You have to do this and that. And that was another surprise to me. I'm like, oh, really? But it made sense. To me, it made sense, that statement that everybody has intuition. You just have to know how to use it. So all these things um, were already telling me which way I should pay, at least put my effort and my attention to. And everything started with meditation. When Gabriel said that meditation is the beginning, and he says it in the KSFs too, and number 11, meditation is what helps you to start getting a good mental state. Um, I used to meditate only when I was doing yoga, and I liked it a lot, but it was a guided meditation from the teacher. And when Gabriel said you have to meditate every day consistently, I tried to do it and I couldn't do it. It was almost impossible for me to do it. I couldn't concentrate. I couldn't do any of that. And then I found the famous Zen 12 that now Gabriel talks a lot about, and I loved it because it really helped me to start meditating consistently. And so after doing the Zen 12, which is a program for 12 months, I found another program called Brain Evolution. So that is, I feel Brain Evolution is like an advanced mode of Zen 12. So if you want to start meditating consistently, I suggest Zen 12. But if you've been meditating for a while and you're comfortable with it, I would suggest to try Brain Evolution. Um, both of them have technology that helps you um, concentrate in your meditation or focus in your meditation. So those two things were key for me to start getting into my good mental state. I also started the Course in Miracles, and I found it very confusing at the beginning. I just finished it a couple of months ago, and I still don't understand half of it, but I kept going because I wanted to know what the whole thing was about and then start over, which I'm doing now. I'll talk about that at the end. Um, and the gratitude journal. So those three things are my preparation every day for trading is meditation, Course in Miracles, and gratitude journal in that order. And also I found that exercise, I'm a runner and I like to run around. Exercise also helps me to get a good mental state. The main books that helped me, I read a lot of books through all this. Gabriel gave us a big list of books, but the ones that really talked to me a lot was Power versus Force and the Eckhart Tolle books. The Eckhart Tolle books really, really, I felt helped me a lot into getting into this, as Eckhart Tolle now calls it, into the present instead of being in the past or the future. The other things that helped me was the Sedona method. I felt like after doing all those things I just mentioned, the Sedona method, I felt like it put me to a higher level of consciousness, where I could think in a different way, if you will. And with all those things going on, I felt like I got what I would call also the peak performance. I did finish the peak performance home study course, and also that helped a lot. So all those things, plus all the books and other things that I read and courses that I heard, everything came together to get into this transformation where I went from being emotional and impatient to being, as Gabriel calls it all the time, cool, calm, and collected, and or cool, calm, and confident. It's very hard to explain that state of mind. I call it being in the flow or being in the zone because nothing bothers you. It really doesn't. Nothing bothers you. And when you're trading, you accept whatever comes. And that's one of the key things about trading is you do have to accept whatever comes. The other thing that I concentrated on at the beginning was on the process and not on the results. I was trying to be more playful with my trading, and all this got me to that point of where I felt I was at my peak. And the reason I now look back and see that that was my peak is because at that point I was even meditating. While meditating, I could put I could stop my thoughts and put my mind blank. And that started happening by itself. I was not looking for that. A friend of mine that is into a lot of meditation had told me a long time ago that if I started meditating, that I should look for the silence. And I didn't know what that meant at that time. But when it started happening, right away, it came to my mind what he had told me. Look for the silence behind the noise. That's the way he said it. And I think what he meant is look for the silence in your mind behind all that noise and thoughts that we have coming through. And I didn't expect that to start happening. At the beginning, it was only a few seconds that my mind would go blank. And then I started getting better at it. And I could make it last longer, and that felt very good. That felt so peaceful, and the best words I can say when you're in that kind of state is peace and joy. Those two words are the best words that come to my mind, but it's very hard to explain that kind of state of mind. So at this point, when this was happening, I thought I had conquered my ego. You see, we talk a lot, and we talked a lot in my trading group about the ego and how it can mess you up with in your mental state, because it fights back. It doesn't want to go away. And when I was in this mental state, I felt like, okay, the ego is out of here. I don't have to worry about it anymore. And I think that was my first mistake, thinking that I had conquered this part of myself. Um, and I'm looking at my notes so I can go more quickly. At this point, I was not emotional anymore, no FOMO. I could accept anything, and my trading was doing very well. This was in 2022. And then at the beginning of 2023, I started being not consistent with my meditation. That's the first thing that started, or with my preparation in general. Because of that feeling that I felt so good, I thought I was already there, and I let go of keep doing my preparation every day. And I couldn't tell at that time that my mental state was not at the same place anymore. But now looking back, um, it looks like that was the beginning of my mental state not being in the right place. Um, One thing that I found that really caught my attention is, because it's hard to know how meditation and mindfulness go together. And I found this thing that said that meditation is to mindfulness as exercise is to fitness. And since I'm really into exercise, I could understand that very well. I said, wow, so that means I have to keep up with with just like doing exercise. You have to keep it up to have a good fitness. You have to keep up your meditation to have a good mindfulness. But that doesn't mean I was doing it. It was just an aha moment that happened. But I started doing, when I went on vacation a couple of times last year. One was in summer and the other one was last month in December. I didn't do any meditation. I didn't do any trading, of course, but I stopped all my mental state exercises. And after coming back from the summer one, I could tell that my mental state was not there at all. In fact, I was having trouble meditating again. I was resisting to do things that were helpful to me that I know I should be doing. And in December, when I came back from my December vacation, it was worse. And that's when I had an aha moment, and I said, I think I lost my mental state completely. So overall in 2023, I didn't trade much. I did a few trades, only in demo mode. And now looking back, I think um, I had a lot of losers, and if anything, I was break even with the few trades that I did in 2023. I started blaming the market. This was at the beginning of 2023. I started blaming the market and finding explanations for why I was not trading like I was in 2022. Um, it got to the point, and this was just at the end of December, I got to the point where I started to doubt that I can do this. Meaning, is it possible for me to um, make money doing trading? I was in a very bad mental state at the end of December. And that's when I caught myself saying that. And I said, I need to change this. Something needs to change. I felt so good in 2022. Why do I feel like this? So, you know how Gabriel talks about the dip? Well, this was more than a dip for me. This was a deep going down in my mental state. And so I made a decision right there that I'm going to change this. Um, I don't care if I can trade for money. I don't care if I can do this. I need to concentrate on getting my mental state back in shape. So I made a decision and I said, I'm going to start by meditating consistently again. And I've been doing that for this year since it started. I miss only one day of meditation. And I'm doing it for 30 minutes every time. The brain evolution program is 30 minutes. The Zen 12 goes from 12 minutes to 20 minutes. But I've been doing the brain evolution, no problem. I started the Course in Miracles again. And this time, somebody in my group talked about um, there is other people that explain what the Course in Miracles is about, each lesson. And he suggested the Carol Ho, and I started looking at that. It's a YouTube channel for Carol Ho, and she explains very well. When I heard the first lesson explained, I'm like, wow, this really I can relate to this very well. This works for me. So I've been doing that. And I got back on my gratitude journal, doing it every day. So I can feel already in this 2 weeks of 2024, I can feel already that I'm getting back, but I'm not there yet. What I forgot to say when I was at my peak is that I found that intuition that I said I didn't have. And that was a great feeling too, because especially on the exits, I could apply my intuition with no problem. And uh, and the market will, if I have a long trade and I feel the market is going to go down, I would stop the trade, exit out, and it would start going down. Of course, I lost that as well, and now I want to get it back. So the the whole this whole this whole process that I've gone through has taught me a lot about mental state and how important it is for me, at least, to trade with a good mental state. And now I have very in front of me about this thing that I found, mindfulness. I mean, meditation is to mindfulness as exercise is to fitness. So now I won't let it go. I'm going to keep going and keep being consistent to get that mental state back, because I don't want to lose it again. So I wanted this experience to help others who may be going through similar things that I'm going through.
Okay, thanks a lot, Claudio. You're very, very on time. Let's open it. Well, we're going to have a Q&A, right? Interaction with the audience now. So let's open it up. You can speak up or write in the chat.
Hi, Claudio. David
Hello.
Wright here. You mentioned some YouTube person who does explanations of A Course in Miracles that you liked. Was
Yeah,
that Carol Ho? HO?
Yeah.
Thanks.
I put it in the chat, the name.
Oh, how?
I don't know if there's an E at the end, but yeah. And she has explanations for all the lessons in Course in Miracles. So, and when I heard the first one, I right away sent it to the group and I said, here's the link to the first lesson with the explanation. I think you should hear it, and maybe it will resonate with you just like it did with me. Oh, Kartikeya had put the link there. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Kartikeya. Anybody else?
I can ask, yeah, Yolanda?
Yes.
Yeah.
You are muted, Yolanda.
Oh, I thought I unmuted myself. But Claudio, thank you very much for your story. And the question I have is, you talk a lot about your mental state and the dip you have now. And how I was wondering if it's if also beliefs play a role in this.
Absolutely, yes. I'm going to start by saying I'm not very good at working on my beliefs. I haven't been from the beginning with Gabriel. But yes, absolutely, I can see that happening. You see, my belief at the point where I was doing so well in my mental state, my belief is I'm there, I'm okay, I should be okay from now on. And that was a mistake, right? And now I see it as a mistake. At that time, you don't know how things are going to develop. So absolutely, the first belief was to be open that intuition can happen. That's the first belief. Because if you're not open that meditation is going to help you, if you're not open to intuition, if you're not open to saying the Course in, I have a friend that I told him about the Course in Miracles. He's a trader too. And he said, oh, this is too religious for me. Well, if it's going to help you, and it is religious, I'm not saying it is not, but we had somebody in the group who left the group that said that he was not religious at all, and the Course in Miracles still help him. So it's a spiritual journey. You see it as you want to see it. So beliefs play a big role there too, right? So I do believe that you have to have the right beliefs in order for these things to work out for you. Otherwise, if you believe from the beginning, oh, Claudio may be able to do it, but I won't be able to do it, well, that's a bad start already. Sorry for the long answer there, but
I'm glad with your answer. Thank you.
I could have been the one thinking that Gabriel was wrong in what he was saying about the left and right brain and meditation, and I would have never gone into this path, right? And that would have been not good at all for me. Anybody else?
And Claudio, it's interesting. You have 15 years trading experience with other systems, right? Other trading coaches, I guess. So this topic of mental state, of importance of mental state, this didn't come up in your prior trading experience before.
Never. No. Yeah. I took a whole program of courses for options trading, and there were a lot of different talks in those courses, and nobody ever talked about psychology. I followed a lot of people during those 15 years, and nobody had ever even touched that. Until recently, I found somebody that does talk about it, but only on the surface. He says that you cannot trade while you're emotional. Okay, but how do you do it if you're emotional? I mean, how do you trade, or you don't trade? What do you do?
Claudio, sorry.
Go ahead.
It's Jose. Just curious, is there anything you tried that, at least for you, you felt just was not effective?
The let me think. That was not effective. Everything and this is a belief of mine too. I think that we learn from everything, right? Everything that comes through our desk, if you will, our computer or whatever, we will learn something from it. That's my belief, that there is always something to learn. So even if things are not effective, I still do them, not thinking that this is not working for me. One thing that I'm finding right now, actually, that I'm having trouble with in terms of is that I don't like repetition of things, of the same thing over and over. And A Course in Miracles wants you to repeat these exercises 3 to 5 times a day. That is hard for me to do. But does it really matter? You know, as long as I am learning something, I'm getting something back, I think I'm okay.
Interesting. Thanks.
There was some, what is the Sedona method you mentioned? Gabriel, would you like to talk about it?
Let's not get too much into the details. It's just a home study course to release, to release stuck emotions. That's what we do in the master's program. Petra is asking, did you try things you felt that weren't you and you stopped? Trial and error.
Trial and error. That I stopped doing it. That I stopped doing anything because I didn't think it was for me. I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think there was anything that, because of that belief that I have, that even if I don't see even if I don't see if it's good for me, I really believe it's going to do something for me. I am going to learn something. That there is no question about it from everything. So I don't think there was anything that I tried and then stopped. I would at least there may be some books that I'm not crazy about, but I still read the whole thing. So
how was your mental state if you compare to now? How was your mental state in the first 15 years when you traded on other people's systems?
completely crazy. When I told you, Gabriel, that I was an emotional and impatient person, and knowing that that affects my trading, that's how I was trading before. In fact, I tell everybody this, and I really feel it's true. I'm not sure I can call what I was doing before I started with Gabriel. I'm not sure I can call it trading, because I don't feel I had a complete system like I do now. Gabriel gave us a complete system from A to Z. Nothing is left out. When I started following other people, they don't give you all that. So I was trying things and seeing if they work for me, but I'm not sure that I could call it trading.
Claudio, David Ryan again. One thing I heard you say that sort of went boing for me. You said, I don't like repetition. And I don't like repetition.
Okay.
And this is a serious problem because Gabriel is teaching us to develop our own robust process and then repeat it every day.
Well,
so I resist repetition. I am resisting sort of the fundamental dynamic of what Gabriel is resisting, and Gabriel is cracking up at laughter and trying to hide it right now.
well, I went through that too, David. I went through resistance at the beginning of all this repetition he wanted us to do, but I think I found a way around it. You
Yay!
see,
Tell me, please.
well, I did, like, for instance, let me give you an example. Gabriel tells us in the boot camp, go and repeat that trade that you did or that trade that somebody else did or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I have resistance to do that and I know it. So I may not repeat it, but I may at least look at it and learn from it whatever I can learn. So I'm not going to repeat it, meaning I'm not going to do the trade again, going through the steps in the boot camp, but I will look at it. I will look at the blog and see what somebody else did and learn from it. So that is the key for me. And that's what I'm doing from the Course in Miracles right now, that I'm having trouble with the repetition throughout the day, is I'm trying to capture the idea of what the lesson is trying to tell me. And I'm trying to learn from that as much as I can. And it's not that I don't repeat it. It does come to my mind during the day, the lesson of Course in Miracles. But when it comes, I'm thinking again, what else can I learn from this statement or from this lesson? I'm not going through the steps of looking at things. This doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. The whole lesson to me doesn't mean anything if I'm doing that. But that's me. All right.
Thank you.
Just as a quick note to David, you don't have to do the same process every day all over again. You could have every day a different process that works for you and change it around in that way.
That's a good way of saying it. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
Find a way that works for you because, we're all different. All right. Paul is saying, would you say that the benefits of meditation depend somewhat on one's natural psychological disposition, from Stoic to Epicurean? I don't know what Epicurean means, for example, or a natural busy mind or a naturally calm mind? I think I have a natural busy mind. I had that for all my life. And to the point where at some point I realized all these thoughts that I'm having don't mean anything. I mean, this is one of the lessons of the Course in Miracles. I think I did it yesterday or today. They don't mean anything, meaning, why are these thoughts coming to my mind? And it's so much that sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I cannot go back to sleep because my thoughts just start going and going. And I know that that's what is making me do that. So I found this program. If anybody has problems with sleeping at night, there is this app on your telephone called Mo. And it's so good for sleeping because it gives you meditation specifically to go back to sleep. It works wonders for me. Another good thing that happens when I'm in peak meditation mode or in peak mental state mode is I started seeing my sleeping getting a lot better. I wasn't waking up as much, and when I woke up, I could get back to sleep, and that is not normal for me. So that's a side effect of getting a good mental state too.
We have Petra, Yolanda, and Age raising their hands.
Okay.
You would like to speak out?
All right. Let me put it here.
Claudia, I'm curious, let's say your training session is an hour or 2 hour long. Do you sometimes have to top up your mental state, your meditation? Or are you in the flow the entire time once you stop your preparation practice?
Good question. Yes. No, I don't have to do anything. In fact, I feel like my good mental state lasts the whole day. It can last for days. And that was probably one of the things I didn't realize, because the changes, when it started going down, the changes are so subtle that I didn't realize that, like yesterday I meditated, did my whole process. Today I didn't do it. but I still feel very good, right? My mental state, I feel it's good. I could tell when I didn't have a good mental state. I could tell right away. So I would trade anyway, and it would work. And that's why I think I got confident that I had a good mental state that would last, and I didn't have to do all the work to keep it up. That was my mistake. I hope people really learn from that one.
Yeah. Aga, maybe you first.
Yes. Thank you, Claudio, for sharing your experience. It was interesting, even if in your group, it was
Yeah, you
some
know most
use
of
for
it.
me.
You lived it through me.
Yes, yes, and I think it was interesting to hear about your comparing with exercise, and I see that. And also, we do much of the same things in the morning. But my questions was a little about the same as Petra, because I feel the mental state is good during the day if the day is quite good. But I feel it can change during the day, especially if you things go against you and maybe you have some losses, and so it's a little bit about the same. But I think the answer is to slow down the trading and maybe stop trading for the day.
Yeah. Yeah, fortunately for me, I don't have that problem. I know what you're talking about, Olga. I don't have that problem of my mental state not working anymore. As I said, it can last the whole day with no problem when I'm in peak shape. And but one twist that I do see that could happen is if something happens during the day, I don't know. And the losses really don't bother me. I mean, if I have a couple of losses, I just stop trading and that's it. That's it. There is nothing to worry about because that's what Gabriel taught us, right? The losses are part of trading and you have to accept them. Just stop trading. But if you feel that your mental state is not feeling good, is not feeling the same, I would go back and do the meditation again, do A Course in Miracles again, or do gratitude journal again. I mean, those things you can do as many times as you want during the day, right? It's not like you only do it once and that's it. That may work
Yes.
for me, but it may not work for other people.
Yes, I feel the same, and even just small meditation with breathing and some Eckhart Tolle stuff is also fun during the day to come back to zero again and start again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe if I can add something here. So it's not a problem at all if the mental state changes, right, to the worse. I mean, I have the same. It's a problem if you're not aware of it, or the problem is if you're aware of it and you don't and you continue doing trading. The big advantage of trading is we don't have to trade, right, at that point of time. We can choose not to trade. That's that's one of the top tasks of trading Van talked about, the staying out of the market, right? So the important thing is to be aware when we drop out of a good state, and then to have a state break. Well, basically walking away, right, from the trading desk, either call it a day or do things that bring you back into a good mental state. And it might just standing up from your desk and sitting down again, right, or having a break or whatever. So awareness is the most important thing, right? Being aware of how is your mental state and when it deviates. This is the main thing, yeah.
Awareness and acceptance are the two words that I never let out of my mind, because those two I think are key to keep it going. All right, who's next?
Kartikeya, you haven't said anything today? You want to speak out? And then Yolanda?
All right. Yeah, couple of questions, Claudio. So I think it was a good example for pretty much all of us. So the way I understood it is that 2022 you had kind of a good year, and at that time you were also meditating, right? So I mean, it looks like to me is probably 2022 you were having a good year. You somehow believed it is because of a good mental state, and it kind of fed on each other.
Yeah,
Since you were having good winning trades, you kept on doing meditation, feeling that yes, this is kind of helping me in some manner.
yeah,
That chain broke in 2023, and then 2023, I mean, everybody knows that 2023 was not a good year, right? I mean, the market was very volatile, and pretty much a lot of us have seen this uh, with these systems that we were having difficulties in 2023, right? And at the same time, your mental state was not good. So that also kind of fed into each other. So if I understand it right, what you are deciding is in 2024 you would stick with your mental state irrespective of what kind of market it is. That's your basically learning coming out of 2023, right?
correct. I'm glad you said it, Kartike. You said it very well. Yes, that's the decision I made. As I said, I'm going to stop blaming the market. I'm not going to find excuses for why am I not trading or why my trading is not working. I'm going to work on my mental state, get it in top shape, and then let's see what happens. That's
Perfect. Perfect. And a follow-up question, second one, allow me, please. Like, why it took you the whole year, I mean, to realize that you are not in a good mental state? I mean, why I'm asking this question is because I frequently go into those kind of modes where I'm not in a good mental state,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And what I would be looking forward to is like, say, it took you 12 months last time, but next time when you get into these kind of states, will it take you 12 months, or how will you realize and reduce that time that, oh, it's the problem of my mental state that I need to go back to, right? So I mean,
yeah.
did you give it a thought?
Yeah. No, it didn't take me 12 months. I said it like that because it was not until at the end of last month, at the end of December, when I started having doubts if I can make money trading. That's when I realized how bad it was. Okay. But that doesn't mean that's when I realized I didn't have a good mental state. I realized that a long time ago. But I was trying to like, I don't know, balance it. I don't know what word to use here, but I was trying to work with it, let's say. Okay. I know I don't have a good mental state, but let me try to get it back. And I was trying to do that. I was trying to do that. And in December is when it really went downhill. And it was after that last vacation that I took that I didn't do meditation, no Course in Miracles, no gratitude journal, no reading of any books whatsoever, nothing, zero trading, zero anything to do with mental state or trading. And that's when the whole thing really, as you can say, caved in. And that's when I said, I need to do something about this. But in my other summer vacation, I realized right away when I came back, I don't have a good mental state. And I'm like, but to answer your question, am I going to wait 12 months for the next time? No. And I realize right now that my sleeping is coming back, my better sleeping. That may be the first sign that my mental state is not right. Right? Because if
Yeah.
I'm on my peak mental state, I could sleep better. If my sleep starts going south, then all right, I need to work on it. Okay, I need to do something. So there were several indications through the whole year that things, but here's the other part, awareness, right? Are you aware of those subtle changes that are happening? And I feel I was aware that things were happening, but I was not paying enough attention to do something about it. That's the right way to say it. But
Got it.
now that I went through it, I have experience with it. I think I can manage it better now for next time.
Thank you. I think that was a great ending. because we've got the next one lining up. Sean said in the chat that he has realized how powerful this edge is, right? Mental state. We can choose, sorry, the edge not to trade, staying out of the market. We can choose to not trade, not be in the market. Absolutely, yeah. Maybe like Van used to quote, a famous quote from Van, right? That trading is 80% psychology. Well, this comes from there, right? And when I started the Super Trader program, I didn't really understand what that meant. Well, you can actually not understand it when you are a beginning trader, because then psychology is not important, right? It only becomes important when you develop, become better and better, you're experienced and the mature trader. Well, then, right, once you have done all these necessary steps, well, then psychology and mental state becomes the most important thing, right? It's like a Formula One driver. He knows all the techniques and the techniques. Well, now it's about mental state. I guess everybody can relate easily to that. And it's very similar in trading. So when he even talked about that, trading is 100% psychology. That might go a bit too far.
I didn't believe that at the beginning. Now I do.